So Yom Kippur, which was soldiers that were mutilated, tortured, what have you, and one of them is a good friend of mine that I know for many years. His name's Doron. And I know the stories from what he's told, which he only tells a little bit, of course, because it was that bad. And he was the lone survivor from his unit. I think he was a reconnaissance unit for the armored corps. And so in this scenario, you have thousands of Israeli citizens, women, children that were tortured, mutilated, burnt alive, tied together in order to increase their torture, right? Because the partner, right, is tied to you while you're being tortured. So, kind of stuff you could put in your next novel. If it's not too,
Yeah, I'm in the middle of it. Yeah, I'm in the middle of it right now. There is the last two, as you know, have had an Israel
yes,
tie-in.
yeah. And I love that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Because, by the way, I'm from the north. I grew up in Kiryat Shmona, and I lived on the Golan Heights during my military service. So what you depict in the book, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know how you get your research, but if you ever need anything on the ground, by the way, feel free to use me for any of that kind of stuff.
Thank
But
you.
it totally went through my mind
If
that
I,
that surprise attack,
yeah,
and it's like Yamam are the ones that are getting their asses kicked. I'm like, come on, man, Yamam doesn't, they're,
they got it. They got
these are
after
like,
it, yeah. They got after it, finished up, and in my authorship,
but
I
that's what
talked
happened in
about
real
how it
life
probably
here.
wouldn't go down like that with those guys.
Well, that's what happened here, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't talk about it yet until it's publicized, but we have good friends there, and some of them wanted to be in my detachment actually, but we the military's dumb. So long story short, they can't join my unit right now. But the losses for those guys are heavy, and I'll be able to tell you later. But put it like this, right? You're well trained. You have everything, dialed in. But there's civilians being how would you call it? I mean, they're like what's happening to them. Point is, these guys got chopped down really bad because their emotions got the best of them. They ran into the homes, and the homes are elevated here, kind of like in Florida in some places, but cement. And so when they went in to do, house clearing, they would then come out, and the terrorists would, in some cases, hid underneath and then chop them down. You know, I mean, hey, kudos to those guys. They did a good job. I mean, you know, good job on your tactics. And so lots of heavy losses for the Imam and every tier one unit in the country.
Man.
So,
And I did want to
yeah.
ask you, where were you when you found out last Saturday, so over a week ago, what was happening, and how did you guys mobilize?
Okay, so last Saturday, so I keep Sabbath, right? My family. I'm not on my phone and that kind of thing. And what happened was my wife wakes me up. I was dead asleep, and the whole house is shaking. Do, 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 And she's like, honey, I think there's something wrong, and this is not normal. And you know how your wife is. She's like, something's up. And I said, okay. And I'm trying to like wake up and, figure things out. She says, I think something serious is happening. I said, okay, let me check my phone. So I pick up my phone, and we have our unit messaging system. And sure enough, that thing is like loaded, raw, hundreds of messages. I'm like, oh crap. Oh crap. I was like, here we go. So I'm already, you know, switching gears to get my crap together, and I'm going wherever it is, whatever it is, I'm going. So I have no clue what it is, right? And we don't have a TV in our home. We're homeschoolers. We're the weirdos in my community, and so I have no way to find out what the heck is happening, unless of course I want to get onto the internet and whatever. But there's no time for that. I'm just scrolling through the messages as quick as I can to get as much info to understand what the heck is going on and what do I need to do to respond. So we got the message, and we all started to get our gear together and head to the meeting point and get everything together. The commander, of course, my commander is a major. We're a 12-man team that support him and the efforts of the mission objectives for our unit, which is in essence to serve the paratrooper battalion. Okay, so all the reconnaissance units, all the special units of the of the tip of the spear of the paratrooper units. We're here to, I can't give specifics, but we're here to help them in a fight is what I can say. And so yeah, so he starts running down with us. He says, guys, here's the deal. Here's what happened. Here's the information we're getting of what happened. And as you probably already know, there was a lot of misinformation, that our intel had kind of dropped the ball, apparently, which is not really the case. What happened is it was a very well planned attack. So for years now, they've been attacking the Palestinians have been, flooding the border fence, and sometimes getting through and then back, and so basically testing our responses. And so what happened was they did that again. And as you know, when things go in a routine, in a loop, you're like, oh, here they do it again, and here, da da da. But this time it was planned to where simultaneously they meaning Hamas/ISIS, okay? Because we found that paraphernalia on the battlefield, is the ISIS flags. They had attacked our intel systems, right? And so what that means is essentially that we didn't have eyes on what was happening, right? In the control centers that were watching the fence. And that's what lost us a lot of valuable time, and how these guys could basically slaughter so many people for such a long time. I posted on my social media page, and you see I'm quite active. It's not because I have a lot of time on my hands, but I've chosen to sacrifice sleep for feeding people information, because I see it as a mission, in a way that, because our community doesn't like to talk. You probably know how they talk about our guys, the Anshad, the Mama, the silent professionals. And so that's our community. We don't like to draw attention. A lot of guys, some of my guys, of course, also don't not my unit, but people in my community will be like, why do you go post this and why you go post that? Because nobody's doing it. And if somebody's doing it, it's some idiot in tactical gear, what do you call it, like a airsoft, trying to wannabe, and it's misrepresentation. So I feel it's in a way my mission to, number one, represent the community in a respectful way, and also to give good information to citizens around the world to understand what Israel's dealing with. And God has blessed me with bilingual, technically trilingual Swedish, if you want to count that in, because my wife's Swedish, and so I know a little, prata svenska också. But God's giving me that gift, and I feel it's important to use it. And he's given me the gift of being able to understand the American mindset. I got friends in Texas and Florida, and from the community, from the different special forces community, and so that gives me a wider perspective that most of us don't have, right? Who grew up here and only know Hebrew and only know what we know. And so all that to say, to me, it's a mission to get the word out, and to get it out respectfully, and of course, constantly with my peers, making sure I don't cross the line of operational, secrets that are being revealed.